The In This League Podcast Network. In this ring, in this corner, Joe Pisapia. This corner, Tim Heaney. Gentlemen, let's go.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? It's me, Joey P, and welcome to In This Ring, the greatest wrestling podcast in the history of the universe. It's me, it's Tim Heaney, and we've got a special guest joining us today. Before we get to that, let me tell you what we're going to do today on the program. We've got our recap of Extreme Rules. We've got a living legend returning to mixed fanfare, I think to say the very least in that. We're going to talk about the aftermath of Extreme Rules and also our top 5 folks that we'd like to see in WWE and that product, which would be a fun little, fanboying out, I guess that would be. But let's talk about our guest. He's one of the co-hosts of Wide Men Can't Jump, which is a fantastic NBA podcast. He is a huge wrestling fan. And the thing I like most about him, not only is he involved around the peripherals of the business, he is also got that great Southern drawl that he could say wrestling, and it makes me really excited. So, Nate Bush, Nathan, how the hell are you? Welcome to the program, Nate.
Thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it, and I do love me some wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
There it is, right off the top.
You say it sounds so good. All right, let's start with this. Let's start with the Hulk Hogan news. Hulk Hogan reinstated. I'm guessing this is some sort of hope for some sort of ratings ploy or whatever, because I guess whenever Hogan's there, it always means ratings. I don't know how many times you can go down to this well, but with all this stuff and the racial comments and the things, banning him from your fake or suspending him from your fake Hall of Fame nonsense is just one thing. But to bring the guy back on TV ever, Nate, I'll start with you. You're our guest. before Tim and I have our thoughts on this, what was your reaction to this whole Hogan business this week when it happened?
When it was announced, I thought it was like, really, this guy again? But he's a legend, so I can see why they want to bring him back. Vince has always noticed when ratings drop or when anything goes down, hey, let's just call up so-and-so legend, and he'll help turn things around. So I'm looking at Hogan going, he's back, that's fine. What he did was wrong, and what he said was completely inappropriate, and I don't know if he went around and apologized to the whole locker room like he should have, or he thought he was Hulk Hogan and he's above that. But I don't expect everyone to forgive him. Titus O'Neil, don't expect that. But at the end of the day, it's WWE's decision, not ours. Whether we like it or not, they're going to do what they want to do.
I know they had a low-rated Raw and all that stuff a couple of weeks ago. It was the lowest one, but it was also through the post-holiday week and all that stuff too. Like, I don't know how much you want to read into those numbers. Plus, it wasn't exactly the most exciting booking, so I think it's more a booking issue than all of a sudden we've got. It's not like we don't have talent. It was just we're not using and utilizing the talent properly. And I keep saying the same thing. Without their main belt around on your main show, it's kind of hard to get people excited about stuff because you've built up this whole Universal title thing. And I don't blame Titus for not wanting to talk to Hogan, and I just don't want to stir up more crap in the locker room because that seems to never be a good thing. Tim, I don't understand. If they need ratings, why don't they call up, Steve Austin, or why don't they call up somebody like that? There's lots of guys you can get on here that don't have nearly the baggage that Hogan has right now.
It's kind of the weird era to really want to dive into the Hulk Hogan mess. The fact that he's, it's the maybe social justice warrior type stuff. It's the actual human decency
era. Well, if anybody has
his
finger on the pulse, Tim, it's clearly Vince McMahon. Between the Me Too movement, I'm sure, and any racial bias stuff. Vince has always been the champion of social issues.
But, the push that Steph and Triple H are trying to make to be, goodwill type of organization now, it seems kind of weird. You talk about the fact that, sure, there's a forgiveness factor. There's the, I might have been drunk or something when I said it type of factor with that sort of thing. But, Nate kind of said it best. You got to kind of, own up to your mistakes, see that you're willing to change, win back the locker room. And, the rumor is Titus didn't shake Hulk Hogan's hand and apparently walked out of the, I believe it was Extreme Rules or Raw. I forget which one. But, it's a weird signal to send to your guys that Hulk Hogan, you're going back to that well again. And, it may be not just accounting for the ratings as it being a dip in like you said, active watchers because of the holiday or something. And, this era is kind of a dead one for them anyway, until it gets closer to SummerSlam. So maybe it's an overreaction, but yeah, it's a weird call on this part at this time to do that.
Well, and you posted out a rumor. Well, not posted out. You brought to my attention this rumor of the concept of that they're doing this to have Bobby Lashley potentially win the Universal title, and then Hogan be there and raise his hand and kind of cure all the ills in a very "I had a dream"-like speech. Let's all stand and hold hands on the top of the mountaintop.
We shall overcome. All that stuff.
How terrifying and out of touch is that idea, Nate?
Well, it worked so well the last time they had a come out and hold up a hand of a guy who couldn't get over Rock and Roman. That went over great.
We'll just keep doing it, Nate, till it works. We tell the people what they want.
It's me, Austin! Oh, son of a bitch! What? It's me, Austin! It was me all along, Austin!
Yeah, really. It doesn't make sense. I have nothing against Bobby Lashley other than the fact his promos sound like that of a schoolyard bully. That's
being kind.
His voice doesn't match his body.
Right? Totally.
If you've ever watched the movie Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
He's like the guy analogy. He's like the guy standing there, and he's got this real mean look on his face. Like, you're Dave the Rover, mister.
That's exactly it. Oh, it's perfect. You nailed it. It, and you brought back to life a movie that I haven't thought about in a very long time.
Now, how can you forget that movie?
Oh, my gosh. All right, well, let's get to it. Let's start with Extreme Rules, the Mountain Dew of pay-per-views. We're going to talk about let's start with the pre-show. Let's start with Cien Almas and Sin Cara, which, I mean, we could certainly argue was the match of the night that nobody saw, probably because it was on the pre-show. But Cien Almas, another good showing. We're going to get to my man crush on Cien Almas a little later on the show after SmackDown, and him and AJ Styles, which was very exciting, let's say that. But Cien Almas, Sin Cara, look, if this shows you anything, it shows you Sin Cara is a guy that can still support a lot of young talent coming through, or new talent, I should say. And they should utilize him a little bit more on the show, just from the wrestling standpoint. This was a perfect idea. Tim, you and I, big Almas fans, I thought this was a very strong showing for him and Vega, and it showed, because they basically, rocketed the little test run this week with AJ. And I think, crap, let's just talk about it now because I'm so goddamn excited about it. It was so freaking good. I was so excited. They slow played the match, which I loved a little bit. You had some actual holds and special wrestling going on there a little bit before you actually got to some of the big spots. So it wasn't just a spot fest. And if that's what they can do in a no plan 15-minute, situation, imagine if they had like a full reign, worked a program together, how good it could be.
SmackDown overall was a great show this week, and this is kind of a nice kickoff to all that. And part of me thinks like, all right, they threw them together quickly for sure, but and then you realize that Almas was NXT champion not too long ago, and it's a good way to kind of establish him to come close and lose as a guy that's going to be there in the picture in the future. So I'm really excited to see what comes up there. Him and Zelina Vega, just a perfect act. They're doing the tranquilo on the ropes now.
I love it. And I love their matching outfits and the whole, we're wearing the gold pants and the black boots tonight, and then we're going to wear the black and white today. It's awesome. It's just
a great duo, a fantastic duo, fantastic act. He's got all the power in the ring for a luchador. He's not just a flippy dippy, as Jim Cornette would say, I guess. But
that flippy BS, that's what he does.
He has the science down, and he's going to be rising so fast.
All right, now Tim Heaney says I have to wait for this. I don't want to wait for it. I'm telling you, Nate, I want Cien Almas, AJ Styles, SummerSlam. That's what I want. I'm going to SummerSlam. That's what I want. That's what I need. Tell me I don't have to wait for this, because there's no logical other next guy for AJ Styles.
I don't see what they're waiting for. Almas is young, but he's got a lot of time in the business. He spent a lot of time working. He made his debut when he was 13, and now
I was going to say he was a teenager.
He was 13.
Like
now
Ricochet was.
Yeah, he's 13 now. He's 20, 28, almost 29. So it's not like he doesn't have ring time, and he can run with AJ Styles, and I think they have a lot of faith in him, especially after what he did in NXT. He was very, very entertaining in NXT, and I think if they did that match, unfortunately, it would be the match that maybe you'd get at the top of the 7 or 8 o'clock hour for the title that they do now, which makes no sense to me. But they'll put that match on early, And
Well, I call that the East Coast bias match. That's the one for the kids who can't stay up past a certain time and fall asleep.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, and I got 2 kids. Now, my kids stay up because they're insane, but I think that's part of what it is. You put one of those marquee matches up in the first third of the show or whatever to satiate some kind of the crowd. But look, it's New York, big Latin population there. I think this would be there's no way, and not only a big Latin population, but a huge, with NXT TakeOver being there Saturday night, boys. I just feel like that would be, there's going to be holdover crowds. There's going to be that hardcore audience there. It's a perfect support spot to put Cien Almas in that match. I'm not saying he has to win, but I'm saying is put him there. This whole idea that we have to wait and guys have to prove themselves. No, he's good enough. Put him there. I don't care about anything else. That's all I want. And maybe I'm being a spoiled little bitch. I don't know, but you know what? Screw it. They look, how many Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar matches do I have to sit through that I can't get a Cien Almas, AJ Styles, freaking Big Four event match?
You're not wrong. The quality of the match is great. It will be great again. I want to see Styles.
And the story was good too. Like the whole feel between everybody and with her in the mix too, man. It all just works. All right, our boy EY.
Yeah. Well, I'll talk about the other contender I want later, I guess.
All right. Oh yeah. Save. Yeah. Spoilers. No spoilers. Keep it. All right. Sanity versus New Day. That was the other one in the pre-show there. But I would say another solid match. Killian Dane's great. Mm-hmm. We got EY putting Kofi through the table and then having a subsequent good match with him. I would say this week too on SmackDown, as you were saying. The question now is, Tim, when we're going through here with Sanity and New Day, are we going to just continue this feud? Because it feels like that's where we're going. It's just going to be like another 6-man tag or some kind of other stipulation match with these guys.
Yeah, I hope it's just a 50-50 thing going on. I think, Sanity could use a long-term, development out of this as to being a real force. My theory, my desire is I want them to break up the New Day for at least a little bit, getting Big E's head, make him, egotistical singles wrestler or something, and maybe mess with that a little bit like the way the Wyatts could have done or something like that. But, the quality of the matches are going to be good between these 6 for sure because, Sanity's always had that experience in NXT, and New Day is just, of course, established as one of the greats in this time. So, yeah, just if he gives New Day a little bit back here and there, you can extend this for a while. 6 guys, you can have a lot of one-on-one matches in between to establish things. But I hope there's a lot. They actually cash in on the potential that this could give.
How about you, Nate? What are your thoughts for how they should continue to grow Sanity and whether or not a guy like EY, who is real solid performer, I like the Chaos Sanity gimmick. He's surrounded with the right kind of situation there that they could bring in an Impact Wrestling guy and have him really excel here. AJ has, and some other guys have at times, other guys have not. But do you think EY, with his size and stuff, that WWE is going to really give him the right shot?
Well, if I was booking this, and of course this is...
Well, you are here, my friend. That's what this is all about. Book away. Do it.
All right. As I sit back in my armchair to book this, the way I would do it is I would have Sanity run through the New Day yet again. I would have AJ retain the title, and then I would have Sanity focus themselves on AJ Styles because that would give you the fallback to Impact. These two have a history together, Eric Young and AJ Styles. I would have Sanity just attack AJ at all turns and then eventually lead to a match between AJ Styles, Eric Young to kind of make it come full circle, and that gives Eric Young a nice little push, moves him up the card. He's not just an act in Sanity anymore, but he stays with Sanity and kind of brings them all to the forefront.
I love it. I'm all for that. And I'll tell you what, too, you could see, with the approach of next year, was it next year or 2 years from now, where we get the October push into Fridays with Fox for SmackDown, whenever they're going to turn that into the main show, this whole concept here of starting to filter in it's not a mistake that you got Almas on this show now, you got Sanity and EY on this show now. They're positioning themselves. Triple H and that company, they know what's going on there. They know who their best folks are, and they're starting to filter them into that show, and I think to grow them on that show, to push that show. All right, I'm going to say something here, and I think it's going to be unpopular with our listeners, but I don't care. I'm going to be a heel here. Maybe it's my low expectations. I don't know what it was, but I actually thought Roman Reigns, Bobby Lashley was not that bad. I don't know. I thought it was a pretty good match, all things considered. I didn't care about it. I actually thought Roman needed to lose. It was good that Roman lost. Bobby definitely needed the W there too, but still, I think it was a good thing for the crowd and for the WWE quote unquote universe that Roman take a 3 count there on his back to somebody and just kind of break the monotony of stuff. So I'll put it to you, Nate. Roman, Bobby Lashley, you see it now. They're setting it up to continue here. Do you think that's going to end up being a 3-way dance here at SummerSlam? And do you think that, I mean, either of these guys are going to get the reaction they want? Because, I mean, it's like Rollins was right there for the picking yet again, and they seem to, I don't know what's going on or if they're just going to add him in later. But how do you see this working out here with Roman and Bobby and Brock now, as part B of the question?
My thing with it is I think that you'll have Roman and Bobby and Lesnar at SummerSlam. Next week, you'll see the one-on-one match. It can go one of 2 ways. It can either go Roman goes over next week and Bobby says, well, I beat you at Extreme Rules, even though there was nothing on the line except who's got the worst promo. Or Lesnar comes out, destroys them both 3-way at SummerSlam, which I don't know if I'm for that. Yeah. If somebody's going to beat Lesnar, somebody needs to beat Lesnar.
I agree.
He's lost he's won fatal 4-way matches. He's beat everybody. It's the only thing that can save this for me is whoever wins at SummerSlam. Braun. These hands need to come out and just clean house. That's what needs to happen. Braun Strowman needs to leave SummerSlam as champion.
I agree. I think that's, I don't want that to happen quite yet. I mean, I feel like that's, I don't know. I mean, I'm a Braun fan. I love what Braun's been doing. I do think he's still just slightly green, and to put the belt on him and have him try to carry the company, I think is going to be tricky at this point. Whereas Seth, I think Seth is so hot right now, Nate. Don't you think that there's like the obvious thing is let's get everything back on track. Let's get everybody on board. Everybody can get on board with Rollins again. And then you can bring Dean back in a heel role. There's lots of ways or you can have him and Roman go at it again. Whatever that is, I don't know. I just feel like, don't you want the big pop when everyone's happy at SummerSlam for once after everyone's been so miserable so many times, Nate?
Not if you're Vince McMahon.
Well, it's just the obsession with the bigs again, though, right, Tim?
Yeah.
I mean, here we are. It's just like, who's the biggest 2 guys I've got? Well, it's Bobby Lashley, and then Roman's the face that I want of the company and all that stuff. I mean, what was your take? First, let's start with the match. I thought it was a good match. You thought it was okay. I thought it was better than okay.
I like the spots on the outside and stuff for it. It was a nice little. There were some nice Haas moments, I guess, so to speak. They kind of railed on each other, like a backdrop in the table, that sort of thing. They played to what their styles are, and I think it worked better than I expected.
All right. Well, now for this whole way they're setting everything up, do you think they missed the boat here with Rollins, or do you think this is like because now, I mean, basically you've just now left us with Rollins McIntyre, which I'm fine with. Which, by the way, let me just put out there too. How freaking strong did McIntyre look on the pay-per-view and Raw after? I mean, he looks like a beast right now. Everything is just clicking for him. You want to put him against Brock Lesnar? I'm buying that right now. I'll sign up for that match too, but they're not going to do it. It's like we have the bigs, but let's not use the most interesting big we have.
But there's no storyline logic to match Drew with Brock right now because they're both kind of on the bad side.
Because storyline has stopped them before. Not having a real solid built-up storylines really stopped them from pushing something.
It's not a natural fit in their eyes, at least. I don't think it is in my eyes because you have to do jump ropes to get Drew back into being a guy to cheer for. And, to put heels versus heels together. And I think even Triple H would write that off as an exception not to do that right now. But as for the Lashley Ray stuff, yeah, I think they missed the boat on Seth here unless they're really pushing toward a WrestleMania thing with him, which I can see happening here. Braun, if they're not having Seth in the picture, Braun's got to walk out of SummerSlam champion to get the best crowd reaction. Maybe they'll have the Hogan-Lashley thing, and then maybe Braun will come out after Hogan leaves or something, and I don't know.
Or maybe Braun Strowman just buries everybody. Buries Hogan. Buries...
Yeah, I disagree. I think he's ready. I think that the charisma's there. I think that the in-ring ability's there. The character act is there. I just wish they would make him less of a bully and maybe have some remorse about killing Kevin Owens, but that's just me. But WWE babyfaces don't do that anymore, so that's the thing I'm not going to get. But I think Braun is the way to go if you're not including Seth at SummerSlam.
All right, we're a month away from SummerSlam. Hot take: who's champ when the pay-per-view is over and said and done?
I think I'll go with
Universal
Braun.
champ.
I think I'll go with Braun.
How about you there, Nate?
Oh God. If it's Braun, I'm just gonna hate life. I mean, if it's not Braun, I'm gonna hate life.
If it's not Braun,
okay,
I was gonna say, wait, you just turned on your guy.
Almost kicked him off the show for that.
That was the fastest heel turn ever, Nate.
That was Big Show S.
Yes, I went from crying Big Show to never mind. But
oh no.
I think it's going to be Lashley. Honestly, it seems to be going that way. Vince loves Bobby Lashley. He would have had him champ years ago. I mean, Vince booked himself in a match with Bobby Lashley. Who else does he do that with? Stone Cold. That's it.
Yeah.
Triple H.
God,
So,
I hope you're both wrong. I hope it's Seth Rollins somehow. Like
that's going to take some gymnastics, but it would be great if they could do that.
Well, he's good at gymnastics last time I checked. All right, Baron Corbin wrestled in his vest again. That happened. And I mean, honestly, he beat the piss out of Finn Balor in that match, and I continue to enjoy. I'll say it again. I don't care. I don't care. I'll say whatever I want. God damn it, we're doing this show. Baron Corbin is a real strong in-ring presence. He is a big dude, incredibly athletic. He's got a good moveset. You can't wrestle in a vest. You look ridiculous. There's just no way you can get over. So he basically beats up Finn Balor for 20 minutes, and then in the 21st minute, Finn Balor gets the W. I'm just, you want to talk about no story, no build, no whatever. I know it's filler, whatever it is, but they need to stop this with Corbin because they're basically they're just going to ruin him. He's going to be one of these tales of another of these guys who had potential that they just didn't know what to do with. So Nate, let's see what your take is on Baron Corbin, or should I say Constable Corbin now?
I would trade Baron Corbin for Super Calo from WCW Saturday Night right now. I cannot stand Baron Corbin.
But why is it? Because personality aside, the in-ring work, the moveset, the skill set, you don't think he's a good in-ring worker?
What, his 4 moves? He had 5.
A lot of guys have 4 moves. Finn Balor's at a point now where he only uses 4 too, let's be honest.
Well, I am sick of the sling blade because him and Rollins just do it too much. However, Corbin is – I went to a live show one time. I believe – actually, I was at Starrcade this past year, and nice. I counted Corbin's moves because, yes, I have that kind of time. I counted Corbin's moves during the match. I got to 6.
That's fair.
Oh God!
You know what? I saw Balor. Last 2 live shows I've seen Balor at, it was less than that, and it was frustrating because I know what he's capable of. I've watched him in Japan. It's like I don't know if he's just phoning it in on the house shows, which might be it, and maybe that's what most of them do nowadays. Not all of them. I'll tell you what, who didn't phone it on the house show when I saw him? Seth freaking Rollins.
Nah, he never does.
He never phones it in. He was doing a steel cage match with freaking Jason Jordan and the Bar, and there's Seth Rollins like it was a pay-per-view. And I'm watching him going, holy crap, man, this guy's unbelievable. And this was before this whole gauntlet match run and all this stuff. This was back in December. And and now where do you take Finn Balor from here, Nate? Where are you going to put him at?
Balor's eventually got to become that mid-card champion. He's got to win the Intercontinental title eventually. He's had so many opportunities, especially now with –
So him and Dolph, that's your next –
Yeah, I think it makes sense. And having McIntyre there, as you guys were talking about McIntyre earlier, I love McIntyre. The reason they don't give him a push is because they're afraid Tiffany's going to come back and destroy everybody. But that's beside the point.
Oh, my God.
And but I think that would be the next logical thing. But Corbin is basically Corporate Kane from a few years ago now. Just kind of there, wrestles in the pants and the vest. It just looks like a really bad fight broke out at an Armani convention.
It's just bad. Like, I don't mind him wearing the vest, but it's like when you get to the ring, you got to have different ring attire. Like, you can't wrestle in men's casual wear. Like, it's just like, it's too Mean Street Posse-ish. Like, it's terrible. It's just
only no sweater vest. It's not getting over as far as I'm concerned.
No.
Corbin and I have a long relationship on Twitter where he and I just go back and forth with each other. And he knows
he loves it. Well,
he does.
He loves it. He loves this crap. Like, he likes to go with people at Twitter. And that's to me, I find that endearing. Like, he wants to mix it up, and he's got no problem, like, trolling the fans. I think it's great. Like, I find that endearing in modern day heelism. I agree, though. Balor versus Ziggler would be a good way to go. I could definitely sign up for that. Let's talk about Braun and KO. KO obviously gets the victory at a cost. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a solid match there. I thought, breaking the, typical Braun monster fashion. The most impressive thing to me, obviously, KO through the table. We've seen it before. It's great. It's awesome. It's impressive. But how fast Braun Strowman got up that top of that cage, that to me, Tim, was like, God, look at that big boy go. Like, it's just amazing to watch the athleticism of him. He is a freak of nature, man. He really is.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest pops of the night for sure. And it doesn't take him much of a step to get up there because he's got a little bit of a stride there. And yeah, it was a fun little entertaining match. Kevin Owens, does the psychology things, better than most, if not all people in WWE, and plays a chicken crap heel here and there and really well. But I like that he got a little bit more offense in because he did need to kind of reestablish that he is a threat and all that before getting, attempted murdered, I guess, by Braun. So,
is that all?
Yeah, manslaughter, not actual murder. So,
here's your car, Kevin. Ha ha ha.
Here's your corpse, Kevin. Ha ha ha.
God, I love insert laughter here. Braun Strowman laughs. Ha ha ha. Okay. Yeah, Braun, and action. Ha ha ha. Oh wait, there was 4 there. Oh, I'm sorry. Ha 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 ha.
I love Braun so much. He's so entertaining, even with the bad acting. And the dude, I watch him run. His run just cracks me up.
Oh, the run is great. The big man run.
Well, he's carrying a bit much up top, so it's kind of
it is, but it's the face he makes. He's like pumping his hands, and he's like when he's running and stuff. Yeah. And he is a funny guy. That's another guy too. Like interaction wise with the fans, it's another one where the fun of seeing house shows, and you guys attest to, is like you get to see them with their hair down a little bit. Yeah. And he's like there taking selfies and doing stuff. And like, he's really endearing and funny. And I'm all about him. And look, if he wins, I'm not going to believe me. If he leaves as champ, I'm not going to be unhappy at all. The only way I'm unhappy is if Brock Lesnar somehow retains. Honestly, even Bobby Lashley at this point, just let's get the belt off of Brock Lesnar. That's all I want. But I just want to make sure that they set him up in a spot where he's got the right feud next too, because I don't know what that would be. If is it Braun and Bobby Lashley then next? Is that where you go? I don't know. There's a lot of questions there. I'll tell you what though, it's working for me. I was skeptical at first, but this whole thing where Curtis Axel has now become basically John C. Reilly from Step Brothers is totally, it's working for me. It makes me laugh. Like when they asked him, how do you feel after they won the tag championships? And he said, how does a rainbow feel? Like that was
one of the quotes of the year.
I mean, but like Step Brothers, I love Step Brothers. Nate, I imagine you're a Step Brothers fan too, right? You're a fun guy.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Okay, Tim, you're a Step Brothers fan, right? What's wrong with a Step Brothers-esque kind of, I'm Nighthawk kind of tag team? Like, why can't they? I mean, what a great gimmick, and no one's really done it to this extent. And I love that everybody can make their own B-team shirts. And you can't tell from the crowd if they're like the ones you can buy or the ones that people just made at home. I kind of think that's cool. So the undefeated streak continues for the B team. Tim, do you think that now we just work this program and they win it? They drop it back to Bray Wyatt and company, or
no? I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I was happy the B team won because as I was saying before the pay-per-view on the preview show, Wyatt and Hardy don't need the belts. They should be their own act. They should be their own contained universe, the Broken Universe, Woken Universe, whatever. B team going on a run, it allows a nice transition to the next person they actually want to crown. I hope it's the Revival if they build up something like that with the skilled wrestlers kind of taking umbrage with the with the happy-go-lucky guys. I mean, Bo Dallas' comedic side, I'm so glad he's getting to shine through more as well because he had so much of that in NXT as champion. When he lost the belt, refused to leave. That one time was great. They had to carry him out. And, the two of them together, the Miz Taraj was a nice little seed that was planted for the long-term potential here. And, give the Raw tag team something interesting to do that's just not the same promo over and over again. I'm very happy with kind of laughing at what's going on. And hopefully the wrestling and the feud quality builds up here in the near future.
Well, they can work. I mean, I'll put it to you. Do you think now, Nate, if let's say, they retain and at SummerSlam and they keep working this program here, what becomes of Bray Wyatt?
I think eventually you're going to see the Hardy Bray Wyatt feud go back. I guess, listen, I can't explain what in the hell's going on with those two, but I love it. I love to sit back and watch.
I agree.
Love the gimmick. Don't ask me to make heads or tails out of it, but I do enjoy it. But I think Bray and Matt will eventually feud again. Because Matt doesn't need broken Bray. I think Bray needs to go back to being Bray. And Bray used to be such a dominant force, and when he came out, everybody loved him, especially
he's so good in the ring, Nate.
And he's so good, and he had those matches with, he had the John Cena match at WrestleMania, which was really good that he should have won, but then I'm not going there. But he's such a good character, and he could be the next Undertaker. But it took the Undertaker a few years. He had Giant Gonzalez, and he had IRS and King Kong Bundy and Mabel and all these guys he had to go through before
he survived
really
it.
Found his niche. And if Bray can find that niche and be that next monster gimmick, I think he could really make it work. Of course,
what Bray's done is
don't help either.
No, they don't. And I know for them a little bit too. I know there's always rumors that the company's a little down on him physical fitness wise. That they, because he's so good, they just want him to I don't know. I mean, there's some to me I don't know. Part of what makes him is the fact that he's a bigger dude and he's got he looks like he's got the whole world under his shirt and instead of in his hands, and that's fine. I don't mind that at all. I think that's awesome actually, and I think that's part of the heel persona that works. I think now in this day and age in the company, there's a certain thing. It's like in Hollywood now, even the character actors are kind of good looking. It's like there's this weird kind of expectation of everybody to be in a certain mold. I like that he's not. The one thing that I'm concerned with, Nate, is that Undertaker always had that ability to evolve the character and kind of continue to change it. Now, Bray's kind of changed a little, but I guess the question is, do you think that he's capable of doing another incarnation of this character in a different way and evolving it to the point where he can have that sort of long-term Undertaker-like effect on the business? Because I agree with you. It took Taker a long time, and people forget that because he's the legend now, but you're absolutely 100% right. It's a great point. Do you think Wyatt has that evolution in him?
I think he does. A guy with that kind of pedigree, being related to IRS, Barry Windham, guys like that. He was actually, he was kind of named after Barry Windham because his real name's Wyndham Rotunda. I think that Bray can evolve, and right now he just of course, the physical fitness, he looks like Waylon Mercy and the Headhunters had a baby. But we'll just overlook that fact. But he's so good in the ring, and he's always been a bigger guy.
Explosive good, explosive, powerful good, which is not something you always see.
And I just think there's so much more that character can offer, even if it's okay, you got rid of Sister Abigail, that's fine. We need to learn more about Bray Wyatt. We need a backstory. Remember the Undertaker in '98? We finally got the backstory with Kane. You need a long lost Bray Wyatt family member that Bray shunned because the person was so crazy. And
that was the whole Sister Abigail thing they teased, and it never came to fruition.
Well, that was dumb what they did with it. But,
that's a stupid decision that can only be made by a stupid idiot.
There's nothing better than when someone says that was dumb and that that kind of an accent. I love it. I love talking to you because you get that. Well, that was dumb.
Yeah, it was. But I am happy to see what they're doing with Bo Dallas. I was a Bo lever from day one, man. And when he used to run around the ring after winning matches, man, can we bring that back? That was amazing. He ran over El Torito one time.
Well, they're basically there. I mean, they're practically there. And they just need to keep embracing this. They should have night vision goggles. They should have samurai swords with, I got Giant Gonzalez's autograph on this because what do you do when you see Giant Gonzalez? You get an autograph on the sword, whatever it is. I'm just saying they're so close to it and they're starting to do it. And I think it's great. And it's working. He had me at how does a rainbow feel? That I don't remember the last time I really laughed out loud from somebody on a shoot interview after, or they win a title, make me laugh. That was amazing,
Not since put that cigarette out from Mean Gene in 1992.
Right? Did you see after the post show? I don't know if you guys caught this in the package they ran after. Then they kept running through they ran through Roman's spot there. They ran through a couple other people, but then in the post show, Bo Dallas slid down the front of the thing. That was amazing in front of the desk where that idiot Sam Roberts is, and
fuck him.
Is that the first F-bomb drop on the show? I think it is.
No, Brian Pillman was full of them.
Oh, nice, right? Yeah, true.
But like Nate, he's a big star. He's allowed to do whatever he wants, so that's fine. No, I don't mind it at all. No, don't apologize. Don't apologize. I am in complete 100 support of that, without a doubt. By the way, did you see our buddy Flying Brian Jr. there not that long ago? He was down by you, wasn't he?
Yeah. He's been down here with us. He's actually coming back in August. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he came on the show a couple months ago, and it was right when he was having the injury. So he was like, "I got nothing to do. I could definitely come." It's
He's a super cool dude. I love that he wears his dad's old trunks. He's even growing the mullet. He's a class act, great guy. And he talked with we had Road Warrior Animal down here at the same time, and it is a great time. We got Swaggers coming down for our next show.
Yeah, I saw that.
If
now, are you booking that, or are you?
No,
let's plug away here. Come on, plug away. What are you doing with this group?
I do commentary.
Nice.
Commentary, and I ring announce occasionally when needed, but I'm mostly commentary, and me and my buddies do the filming and editing. We travel the East Coast doing filming, editing, and commentary when needed. It's actually a pretty cool gig. We do it mostly for All Star Wrestling in West Virginia. We've had everybody and anybody. If you listen to Jim Cornette's show, his feud with Austin Idol.
Yep.
That was where it culminated. Was at our show.
Nice.
So yeah, it's been fun. I've been
because I've seen the stuff on Facebook for it and stuff, the ASW stuff, and I was like, that sounds cool, man. I don't know what Nate's doing with them, but I want to know more about it. That's for sure. So if you're in the West Virginia area, may everybody go find out more about ASW and go check it out.
Yeah, it's only $13 for the show.
Awesome. So. All right, so if you're in the West Virginia area, you definitely got to catch that, and we'll give out that information later in the show again too. So we're gonna hit a break right now. When we come back, we got a lot more to get to. The fallout from Extreme Rules. It's so extreme right here in this ring. Joe, Tim, Nate Bush, right back after this.
I will drive nothing but Mercedes or Rolls Royce. I will go nowhere. On a commercial airliner, I will ride in nothing but limousine, and I will make love to nothing but...
In this ring.
All right, welcome back, everybody, in this ring. Tim Heaney, Joe Pisapia, and our good buddy from Wide Men Can't Jump, Nate Bush, a great NBA podcast. Make sure you... where can everybody find you on the Twitter, too, Nate?
You can follow us.
Corbin's yelling at you.
Oh, well, if you want to see Baron Corbin yell at me, you go to @MMITM Nathan. You can follow me there, but follow the if you're a basketball fan, not just NBA, but if you're a basketball fan, you can follow us on @WideJump on Twitter. We actually incorporate some wrestling in there too. We've had Jeff Jarrett on. We've had Mick Foley on talking basketball with us. Ron Fuller Welch has been on. Lance Hoyt, Lance Archer from New Japan has been on. So, if you're a wrestling fan and you like the hoops too, you definitely want to follow us.
Look at that. Good times. All right, let's go with one of my favorite guys. Let's talk with little Luke Harper. Little Bludgeon Brothers against Team Hell No. I'm very glad Bludgeon Brothers retained.
Yeah.
I'm very happy about this. Tim, let's start with you here on this one, too. I mean, I wasn't feeling the whole member berries of the Team Hell No thing. I think it's goofy and whatever. I just don't care. So this was happiness for me. I'm looking forward to Kane going off and continuing to run for mayor or Congress, whatever the hell it is he's doing nowadays. But, who's next now for the Bludgeon Brothers? Are we going to get an Usos rebound feud? Because they haven't been anywhere lately.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how, you got Sanity and New Day involved with each other now. It kind of thins things out a little bit on the other side of things. The whole booking of the match is pretty good to get Kane out of there and make Bludgeon Brothers look a bit stronger. I appreciated that part of that. Yeah, as next for them, I guess the Usos would make sense as like a return feud. Trying to think of who else would be possibilities on SmackDown here. It's funny how they're kind of we talked about a few weeks ago how SmackDown has been a great tag team.
Well, I haven't seen the Bar in a long time either, but I don't know if that's the route.
Sheamus is recovering, I think, still from his stuff.
He's still hurt. So
yeah.
I don't know. How about you, Nate? You got any ideas for Bludgeon Brothers next? Because they right now, I think, are two men looking for a feud.
If I was going to bring somebody for the Bludgeon Brothers, it would have to be the guys from NXT. I would bring up your Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Roderick Strong or Bobby Fish.
Gonna go right to it. Wow.
It'd be great to bring them up. They're over, and you know what? What's wrong with having guys work main roster and NXT? I've never seen a problem with this. Owens did it great.
I agree. You're right.
There's no reason it's like, okay, you're on the main roster, buy NXT. Why? Why do that? Why not let these guys get?
Why not have them float when you need it? I mean, it's like baseball. Like when you have a spot open there because of injuries, what do? You call somebody up from AAA and you bring them up. And I'm not calling NXT AAA necessarily, but I'm saying in terms of the mentality of availability, you're right. And it's like these. Sometimes the rules of wrestling, and I understand there's a lot of unwritten rules and a lot of stuff in the business. I get it, but like, come on, man. Like, if they're over and it works and it makes sense and it makes more sense than anything else, and you think it's going to get over with the fans, then do it. And if you think pushing Cien Almas right to the top with AJ Styles is going to work, Well, then do it. Have something that people talk about where they go, wow, I can't believe this is happening. What a lightning push or whatever it is. But you know what? He was, like you said, he was champ. How good was that Aleister Black Cena Almas match a couple months ago?
Oh, it was fantastic.
Jesus, I mean, come on, man. Like, let's. I mean, that was so good. Why not let Almas and Styles have a match of that quality at SummerSlam? And people will be talking about that from now till Kingdom Come as one of those great matches. You know, we always, you know, the freaking network loves to talk about these great matches of all time and all this stuff. Well, how about let's put some out there? Let's put people in a position to have those kind of matches, for God's sakes. Man, I'm fired up. And here's another thing I'm fired up about it, too. I'm pissed off about this, too. All right, so, you know, it's a little premature. We're going to get to it anyway. The crowd in Pittsburgh, God love you, Pittsburgh. When do we get to a certain point where the crowd needs to just go F itself? Where it's like, you know, I understand it's kind of funny. You're counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and doing the thing. Like, okay, it was funny the first time. You're going to do it for the entire 25 minutes of the match after you discovered that you could do that. It was so frustrating and annoying. And I feel like the people are there sometimes not to enjoy the show as much as they're there because they want to show up so they can rip the show. And it's like, dude, these guys are working, man. You know, people don't appreciate how I appreciate how hard it is you do, Nate. Tim does. You know, I take freaking bumps for a living. I get paid to do this when I teach fighting. So I get it, man. You know, I get how hard these guys are working. And it pisses me off because I think it's disrespectful to them.
Yeah, I mean, I've taken bumps. You know, anytime there's a guy that's got to jump off of something really high and it's got to look like there's good security around to help catch him, guess who's there? My big ass.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. You get your big ass there, Bush, and you catch that son of a bitch.
But there I am, and that shit hurts, man. Like if you've ever taken a bump in the ring, you'll know it's not easy. That's why I'd stick to commentary. I took a couple bumps. I said, you know, I like talking better than I like falling. But
quarter of the year.
Oh, totally.
My thing is the Pittsburgh crowd, or this is wrestling logic here, apparently, according to the internet. All right. Rumor was Lashley and Reigns is going to main event. All right. The whole internet throws a fit. Twitter's going crazy. We want the Iron Man match. The Iron Man match deserves it. WWE listens to the crowd. Okay. Here you go. Main event, Iron Man match, Intercontinental title. 2 workers, 2 workhorses, 2 guys you've been begging to push. And what do?
Right.
You take a big steaming shit all over the match because you've got to be the star. Not these 2 guys in the ring busting their ass, putting on the match of the night, making everything just – it was so good. It was such a good match. And then the whole crowd just sitting there wiping their ass with it, going, we can count from 10. Yay.
Yeah. And like I said, I get it. Like, look, I went to college in Philadelphia, so in terms of wrestling crowds, the most – I've ever seen wrestling was in Philadelphia. Like I've seen more shows in Philly than I have in New York. And Philly's a tough crowd. And Philly's its own animal, but they respect the work at the end of the day. And I feel like that's, you know, they're one to do that kind of stuff. But if it's a match that, you know, they seem to respect the workers too. And I feel like there's some of these places sometimes where they go, and I'm glad you said it because I was thinking I might be on an island here about it, but it really pissed me off, man. Like I thought that this was an opportunity where they had a really what everybody wanted. Like you said, you nailed it. Everybody wanted this match to main event. They put it on there. They listened to everybody. And then you're going to be a pain in the ass when everybody gets listened to. It's like, so wait, you hate when we push Roman Reigns down your throat, but then we give you what you want and you hate that too, or you're going to disrespect the product. I mean, Tim, at a certain point, don't you think some of the wrestling fans need to get over themselves and just, it's like, and I know you're like that too, stop hating Roman Reigns, stop hating all this stuff, just enjoy the show or don't go.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in times in NXT Brooklyn where the crowd's gotten a little bit silly, and I've just kind of, you know, people around me have been like, all right, guys, shut up. You know, it's not a universal thing with that. I think it's definitely subsets that are louder than most. And you can even hear, I don't know if you saw the video of Rollins and Ziggler complaining while they're in a rest hold, saying this is worse than when the clock was on or whatever. And you kind of caught that on the mic. And, you know, you could tell that they were getting frustrated a bit by it. And, you know, as Nate, you said perfectly, it's just disrespectful to kind of try to take over the show and be the show. That's not why people watch on the network, to hear your ass doing all that crap. So, you know, it's a play that's going to stick around for a while, especially if it's just going to be, you know, these guys just trying to be at these big events, trying to be the center of attention. So, you know,
and part of it's from the crowd being wrung out because of the 5-hour shows they want to do all the time. Like there's part of it that the crowd gets antsy. And I think that's something they have to look at. It's like, you know, if you want to do all this and you want to have more advertising money and all these things, well, you have to understand that your live shows that happened in Jersey too. And honestly, in Jersey for Backlash, it was a crap show. So they had every
Little
right
bad
to
show.
be
Yeah.
pissed off and whatever it is, because you pay good money, you go out there and you get, annoyed. That's more fair. But like this trend that it's cool to go out there and just be a dick at shows and just whatever. Like, it's just like, come on, man. It's like, you want to call something crap when it's crap, call it crap. But like, don't crap on the main event when it's something everybody's excited about and the guys are working their butt off in an Iron Man match. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and this is, participation is actually not bad if you do it right. If you're really just trying to, if the guy's jawing at you from the ring or something and you jaw back, that's good. But like, I don't know. When you're trying to just
they're
override,
predisposed, Tim. They're predisposed. Like, we're going to go in there. We're going to ruin this. And I think that's the
exactly right. You're trying to override what's happening. That's bad. Yeah.
All right. Well,
and it's partly WWE's fault. They encourage it the night after WrestleMania, and like, oh, this is the most raucous crowd we've had in all year, yada yada. And then they wonder why. It's like, oh, well, why do they do that?
Yeah.
It's because you're encouraging it, jackass.
Yeah.
All the crowd shots, man. People want to get on there.
Yeah.
Well, and look, and I don't want to take it. Look, there's a fine line here because it's like every other thing, if there's no crowd, there's no show. There's no show, people aren't making the money. But at the same time, I think you all have to understand you're all in this together to a certain extent. And yeah, the guys are making big money, and yeah, you want to be entertained and all that stuff. I do too. I'm paying a lot of money to go see SummerSlam and take my kids there, and it's going to be fun, and I want a good show. And what I don't want is I don't want people ruin it for me by, counting 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, going in between, like the only match that I really, really deep down cared about. Well, you know what? We'll come back to the other thing. Let's just talk about that match too. I thought it was well constructed. I mean, Nate, you started to talk about it a little bit. Let's chat with you and about that and get your ideas on this. I like the finish. I like the 4-4 tie into him just missing a chance to go for that last time. I thought the McIntyre interference was perfect. McIntyre coming back at the end for that last thing, very heelish. This reminded me of real good old school. We've got a plan. Like whoever was agenting this match, I think had to be somebody who really just knew what they were doing, because I think everything in it was just spot on the way they told the story.
This had Pat Patterson written all over
right?
it.
I mean, this is a Patterson finish, right?
Tyson Kidd's been working a lot with Dolph and Seth and Drew, so they might have put something together on that.
That wouldn't surprise me, because I know he's done some nice work too. Like, but I mean, this had all the earmarks of some real old school people involved too, and also just like a real knowledge, because this was high quality workmanship here.
Well, this could have taken place at Judgment Day 2000, whenever The Rock and Triple H had their Iron Man match.
Yep.
It was very, very similar, but still very well done, and it was different in its own way. My thing with it was a great match. Love the work rate. I would have loved for these two to have went 60. I would have liked for the crowd not to have went 60, but I would have liked these two to have went 60. And Pittsburgh, I've been in Pittsburgh several times. I was there at the 2014 Royal Rumble when there was almost a riot when Batista won. It was just awful. But you know what, Pittsburgh, you need to get over yourself. And I know it's not just a Pittsburgh crowd. It was more than that. And this match was great. It deserved better. And if I'm Dolph and Seth, I'd be pissed, and they should be. But I love the finish, love the layout, love the way they did it. Just wish it could have been an hour, because to me, Iron Man matches are better when they're an hour.
I agree, but you're not going to get that over with the audience.
Yeah, I know.
Especially for the Intercontinental.
Well, yeah, good point, Tim. And not for the Intercontinental either. And they've put themselves in a corner with that. And good for Seth Rollins. Look, Seth Rollins for the last 6 months has carried this company. He has. And he deserves better. He deserves a spot here where he's worthy of main eventing. And if he's not in the main event, he steals every show, whether it's working with The Miz or anybody else. It doesn't matter. That's why I'm annoyed that it's SummerSlam he's not in the main event, because I feel like I don't care if I've seen it. I don't care if he's held the belt. I don't care. He's the guy right now. And if you don't know by the crowd reaction he's the guy, you're just an imbecile. You're just out of your mind. All right, let's talk about the weirdest title change of the night. Jeff Hardy Nakamura. Now, I'm thrilled with the outcome. I was trying to catch up because I had a podcast that night for the football show, and I'm catching up, and I literally fast forwarded like too much, where like 30 seconds over and Nakamura was champ, and I'm like, wait a minute, what just happened? And I had to go back and watch it again, and I can't believe they actually did it and got away with it. I like it because I like when stuff surprises like that. And I don't know if they're hiding injuries for people or a little bit or whatever, but then they wrestled the next night, so I'm guessing that's not the case. I think they just wanted to go this route. Let's do this first before we get into the Orton appearance. What was your take on Nakamura winning this way? Do you think this is the way for Nakamura to win, Tim, or do you think that this was a disservice to Nakamura potentially?
To set up the match Tuesday, it made sense in hindsight because they had a nice little match last night as we're recording this Wednesday. I think, Nakamura, he stayed in character, went for the low blow immediately when the ref wasn't looking. I figured that might happen because they were kind of showing him leaning over in that direction when the ref was going toward the bell. I think it worked. I think that it kind of saves Jeff Hardy a little bit of time there as well. Maybe he, like you said, maybe he's needs some rest of some sort there. But yeah, I think it was an interesting surprise. I mean, maybe because they knew some other match were going to go long. They knew the 30-man Iron match was locked in lightweight. So yeah, I was happily surprised. I mean, I'm a Nakamura mark myself, so I was like, all right, whatever, get him over as that heel. And I think it worked for what surprisingly weirdness it was.
Your crown, Jeff Hardy. You're a silly clown. All right, how about you, Nate? Do you like the whole Nakamura winning this way? Did it work for you? Was it kitschy and fun enough and kind of like unexpected?
I thought there might have been a police dog loose. That's why they had to get it finished with.
Don't take my weed.
But why do I feel like I need to order some shitty pork from Shitty Walk?
You got a shitty walk.
But is it bad that my first reaction to this was, oh my God, has Jeff failed another drug test? Like, that was my first reaction.
I didn't even think of that.
I was more
I knew he was dealing with the knee thing, and I knew Nakamura had the dog bite thing. So I'm going, maybe somebody's like really not in good shape. But then they fought Tuesday, so I was like, well, you got to throw that out the window now.
They'll probably give him the extra day to do a better match Tuesday or whatever.
Maybe. I'm not sure. It was but that was my initial reaction.
Or they were short on time. Maybe that's
mix of things.
And I'm glad I was wrong. I'm very glad I was wrong. So it's good to see. But I actually like the way they did it. They're bringing back the low blow for the Nakamura has become Muda's green mist.
Yes,
good comparison.
Totally. Well done.
That's what it's become, and he's winning with it, and I love it. I love Nakamura. Love his gimmick. Love the no speak English thing. Just love the whole character.
This works for me. And then you have Randy Orton show up, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, Randy Orton." Oh no, Randy Orton. That was kind of the
surprising crap in his bag too.
Yeah, I mean that was that was pretty fast. That happened quickly. I assume we were looking at Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy. Especially after Tuesday, it all happening again, which I'm fine with. Now I'll pose this other question too. If that's the pairing for SummerSlam, where do you go next for Nakamura, Nate?
I think they're doing the one-upsmanship. Anything you can do to Jeff Hardy, I can do to Jeff Hardy. And it's kind of like that. I would have to
you three-way dance in this bad boy?
Maybe.
Because they love that. They love to get everybody on the big four.
That's true. My thing is, as long as it's not a House of Horrors match, I'm okay with whatever they do with this.
What? No,
you're on fire today, man.
No missing a refrigerator for you.
Yeah, good.
You should always wake up early and do podcasts. You should always be groggy and out of bed because you're on fire this morning, my friend. I love it, man. That's. How about you? Where do you want to see them go next? You think it's three-way dance, Tim, or no?
I mean, I want to know what Cesaro's doing because that would be a killer feud if they can roll something with that. I'm not sure if he's also nursing his injuries like Sheamus is. Maybe this is like a way for Aiden English to apologize to Rusev to get him another shot at the U.S. title or something. I don't know. There's the mid card of the tag and the U.S. stuff is a little bit thin right now. So maybe the three-way dance is the best way, at least for the immediate future, to pay off what the hell's going on with this whole thing.
Yeah, I think three-way dance, and I say Nakamura leaves as champ in New York because New York's going to love Nakamura. I mean, New York loves Nakamura, and they're just going to love him being that guy. So, I mean, it all just works. All right, let's continue on here. Let's talk about Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax. Extreme Rules is so extreme. There's a trash can made of aluminum. It's extreme. Ronda Rousey getting in the mix there with Mickie James and everybody else. The only thing that I kept thinking, how Nate was like, all I kept thinking was this. All I kept thinking was, man, I'm worried for Alexa Bliss because Ronda's so powerful. I mean, like, Nia's big and strong, whatever. And a lot of the women there are very strong women. But nobody's, like, explosive strong like Ronda is. And then you kind of saw a little on Monday night, too. When she throws Alexa Bliss around, it's like she's throwing around a rag doll. It's kind of like, if I'm Alexa Bliss, I'm a little scared because that is going to be ferocious and fun to watch. And the Ronda thing right now is working for me, Tim. Obviously, we love Alexa. My question to you is, do you think they put the belt on on Ronda there at SummerSlam, or do you think that they hold and keep waiting? Because God bless Alexa Bliss, man. I mean, she does it all. To me, she's such a good heel champ. You don't want to take that away from her.
Well, we said go back to the well when it happened, but we're like, it's a good well to draw from.
Yeah,
so,
man.
Do you want to have the payoff at WrestleMania with Ronda? Do you want to have the payoff now? I mean, New York crowd for Ronda Rousey, that would be a crazy way to crown her a little bit. I think you can make its own thing now.
Well, then you got to carry her all the way from there to WrestleMania.
You got to get creative on how to do that if she doesn't win. I think you can if you keep suspending her and you keep getting her on the sidelines a little bit. I wouldn't mind if they gave it to her at SummerSlam. I think that Alexa could kind of go up, do other things here. I would be happy with either way. I think that Ronda, of course, surpassing expectations so quickly, she's earned the deliberation of actually being the champion after SummerSlam. So, I could easily see giving credit to her. I also want to give credit to Mickie James for wearing the worst shoes and heels to run in when they try to run from Ronda Rousey and making it work. So
you're right. Absolutely right. How about you, Nate? You want to see Ronda win the belt, or you want to see them hold her back a little bit further?
Mickie James can run in anything because she's hardcore country, man.
She is, man. You got to give her, nothing but respect, man. She's out there working.
Great mentor.
Oh,
to all them, for sure.
I love her. If I'm booking this, and again, I'm back in my armchair, ready to book and be the internet guy here. My thought is, if I'm Ronda for this match, I'm going to bring out my posse like I always do. And I'm going to have everybody there that has supported me. And I'm going to have Shayna Baszler there with me. And I'm going to have Shayna Baszler cost me this match if I'm WWE.
Nice.
Because
another good moment to bring up somebody. Yep.
Here's what they do. And here's the reason why Baszler costs her. Baszler says, Ronda, you ran UFC, you ran MMA, you're a Hall of Famer. That was your world. I left to pursue this. Wrestling is my passion. I got here. I started from the bottom. I had to work my way up. You showed up and got a handout because of who you are. You don't deserve this. I deserve this. Boom. Feud right there.
I love it. Works for me. I think it's great. And you kill two birds with one stone, too, because you move Baszler up. And like we talked about, too, that NXT audience is already, ingrained. A lot of people buy the multiple tickets for the multiple nights. So they're already there. You can have her on the Saturday and then pop up on the Sunday. And then that would and that's a perfect way, because you let Alexa stay champ, but you don't bury Ronda's push in any and let her lose any momentum. Yeah. In fact, all it does is gain momentum, because now she's got somebody to work with, number one, who she's familiar with, but number two, you're going to highlight Shayna Baszler at the same time as give Ronda somebody a really quality feud that's going to keep you through till the fall, because I think it's just too soon. Again, I want to slow burn some of these. You
can have Baszler drop the title because Ronda costs her the title on the next takeover, or Ronda could show up at the NXT arena. How great would that be? Just have this feud go everywhere, not just, And
you know what? And I want to give credit to Ronda. She seems like the kind of gal who's okay with showing up on NXT. She's there to work. I give her crap about a lot of things, but one thing I'm not going to give her crap about, she's taking this seriously.
Oh, she is.
And I think that's what's endearing her to me. Is at first I was skeptical because I've seen this before, as we all have. But she's ready to do it the right way, and she doesn't seem to want to step on toes either. So she's willing to work and earn it, which I find endearing. And speaking of working and earning it and then getting buried for it, is Asuka. Now what? Now she's just done. We're not going to talk about her at all afterwards. She loses another thing because of Ellsworth, and now next thing you know, now it's Becky Lynch is going right over the top. I don't know, Tim. I'm completely confused by this. It's hey, I know, let's build something up as much as we can, but never quite see it to fruition on the main roster, and then let's bury it. Let's bury it over and over again with arguably the weakest woman we have champ-wise in the last, 3 years.
Yeah, they missed the window with Asuka. We've talked about it on the show many times, and just don't get me wrong. I love that Becky Lynch is getting back in the title picture. I think she's definitely earned it, and they've built her up with a lot of wins here and there. And, of course, she can go in the ring. You just wish there's a completion, like you said, to the story that Asuka and Carmella are telling, because, sometimes the heel has to get away with things and win, but doing it against Asuka just seems like very much a middle finger to the people that kind of waited on Asuka and the brilliance she was. They nerfed her win streak against Charlotte, and then they just had to lose 2 to Carmella. That's depressing.
It's and it's never clean, because it can't be, because it's not legitimate to understand that. But Nate, at a certain point here, is it just because they don't feel like English is her second language, and she's going to be able to be what they thought she was going to be? And if so, what the hell were you doing with her all this time? And if that's the case, then send her back to NXT and let her be the queen of NXT and be a draw at that show. Because if you don't think that she's going to be good enough to be champ here, she's way too good to be a mid-card filler person. I mean, what the hell are they doing here, Nate?
I think they need, for Asuka, they almost need for her to kind of step away. Maybe she's dealing with an injury or something, or write her off for a month or two, and then have her come back and then just start killing people again, because that's what got her over. Don't give her an undefeated streak or anything like that, but just let her work her way back.
Well, maybe do you want to turn her heel against Becky? I mean, that would work. I'm just saying, like, that would work.
I wouldn't want to turn her heel because you've already done that with Nakamura, and you don't want to mimic the same thing in the same.
But it's gotten Nakamura in a place where he needs to be.
It has, but how much would it work? How much would it would almost be like doing? It would almost be like doing 2 NWOs. How well would it get over?
Well, they only did 12 of those, so I wouldn't know.
That's true.
Which last week, I don't know if you heard, but last week we went through every member of the NWO.
Good
it was
Lord.
hilarious.
Are you
some of them
guys still going?
Well, this
we
show
finished just before this show.
Yeah, we just finished up. Yeah.
When you got guys like Horace Hogan.
He wasn't even the most bizarre. Like some of them, when you'd pop out, you're like, wait, why was like Nick Patrick?
Nick Patrick was. He was
Disco Inferno.
Yeah,
Disco
you
Inferno,
know things
Fake
have gone
Sting.
sour when Disco Inferno is joined your faction.
Fake Sting and the Disciple, one of Brutus Beefcake's 17 gimmicks in WCW. He went from Z-Man to Booty Man to the Disciple, and shit. But anyway, the reason Carmella keeps the title, and this is a thing with me, WWE no longer creates faces or heels. They let the crowd decide who the heel is going to be. I've noticed this most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. If they want somebody to have the title that's a heel, they put it on somebody who just absolutely has just awful in-ring work. That's what they do, because the crowd's going to boo them, because the crowd appreciates in-ring work, unless you're in Pittsburgh. But the crowd hates Carmella because they know how trash she is in the ring. And why not? It's getting her heat because she's so bad. Sure. She doesn't have to do anything else. All she has to do is skip out there to that horrible music of hers with Mr. No Chin Music, who I love, by the way. I love him being back.
I do too. Honestly, I'm right there with you. I think that it
makes her work better too.
Oh, absolutely.
It does. She needs him. She needs him in a bad way. So I think Asuka, you just got to kind of let her drop down and then work her way back up. Have some feuds with like Naomi. Have a good feud with Charlotte again, and let them work. Have good matches. Build it up, and then Carmella, she's going to have to eventually lose, but I think WWE likes pushing her where she's at because she's homegrown talent. She is not a great worker, but she gets enough done in the ring.
Well, they also kind of see her, I think, also with valet potential too. If they could move her out of the wrestling picture altogether into another role potentially, and I think that would be fine with them too at some point.
Yeah, and she does, and I'll be honest, she does everything they need her to do PR wise. If you ever watch her Instagram stories, she is everywhere. So she's working.
Well, I think she just
off
likes to be everywhere. You know, I think she also likes the attention of being everywhere too.
She's a good promo too, so that's working for her.
My co-host says that she has probably the worst looking. Like when you look at her, she says she probably smells awful. That's just what he said.
Wow.
What?
Don't ask me. He said it. He just said that about her, and I'm just like, okay.
What a strange comment. We have to have him on and talk about that. That is.
Oh
that is
Lord, I don't think you guys would want. I love TR. He is.
Well, I've been on with you guys before, but I mean, that's just wow.
He has got some opinions when it comes to pro wrestling, and they crack me up a lot.
All right, let's talk before we wrap this bad boy up. Let's talk about AJ and Rusev. I think we'll have to bag our top 5. Maybe we'll just ask everybody their one guy, and we'll go through there. But AJ Rusev, and then the fallout with Aiden English and all that stuff. I mean, they're so pushing this whole Aiden English Rusev thing, and I just, once that happens, once that goes south, I think Rusev Day goes south with it, and I think everything just starts to deteriorate. So I think that's a massive, massive miscalculation there, potentially by the company. Tim, let's start with you here with the Rusev thing. I mean, did they miss the boat with Rusev, or is it just the situation where they're just not putting him in the right situation to succeed?
This was almost one where you really want to draw out a bit more with gradual escalation here. I think pushing Rusev to the top and losing the Styles, he's not losing AJ Styles. He's not beating AJ Styles.
No, of course not.
You knew that going in, which kind of made you go, as you walk in. I don't distrust Rusev in big matches. We've seen him do this before. We've seen him have that great feud with Cena, and then obviously just disappear after that, because it usually happens to some people. But, they're kind of doing this a little too quickly unless they really want to just not get more out of it, which is a weird idea because it's still a good selling shirt, I would imagine. And, Aiden English being a hype man, whatever. He's doing his thing. Rusev in the ring is still a solid competitor, and I was saying I hope they parlay this into maybe, he's being a babyface in the Nakamura feud at this point would be a good, secondary stepping stone for him, or they take him to the tag title picture and, have them lose the Bludgeon Brothers, and, maybe Rusev just keeps getting pissed at Aiden English. So I don't think it's dead yet, but I think I can see signs of it kind of being, you better kind of turn the ship around a little bit and maybe stretch it out a little bit more effectively.
How about you, Rusev Day? What do you do with it here? I mean, is this just is this the maxed out version here? Or are we just maxed already with it? Or did they miss the boat? Or is there more potential down the road here and we're just not seeing it?
He's still over. The Rusev Day concept, I don't think, is getting old anytime soon. The crowd loves it. Of course, he's not going to beat AJ Styles. He came close, but I think, and him beating up Aiden English is almost like the old Bobby Heenan comment. It looks like a football player beating up a Mater D. Mm-hmm. So that was an old Heenan thing.
Love me some Bobby Heenan, man.
Oh, me too. But the thing is with Rusev, he's got potential. He was in that fatal 4-way match at Mania. Unfortunately, had to take the fall. I'm not sure what they're going to do with him. He's one of those guys that's just kind of floating there. Maybe he needs a.
I mean, him and Nakamura wouldn't be terrible.
No, it wouldn't. I think a guy for Rusev to feud with right now, because I don't think Daniel Bryan's ready to face AJ Styles. I think Bryan and Rusev would be a great feud.
Well, then where's Miz? Because I feel like Miz, Daniel Bryan is what they're pushing to. That's the SummerSlam match, right?
It should be. But, maybe after SummerSlam, Rusev and Bryan can mix it up. Or, I don't even know what you do with Rusev at this point.
Yeah.
Like you guys said, maybe
they put him in a corner, basically. They've put themselves in a corner with him creatively, where it's either Aiden English or it's another run at AJ. And we all know how both of those are going to end, and neither of them, I think, are going to help Rusev when all is said and done, which kind of sucks. All right, give me, before we let you go now, I know we're going to do top 5. We usually do that, but we're running over today. So give me, who's the one guy you'd like to see come into the company, Nate, from outside the company right now? Either Ring of Honor, New Japan, doesn't matter. Who's the one guy you want?
One guy.
And if you know what, while you're thinking, Tim, why don't you go?
Think on that.
Well, you mean just outside the company?
Outside the company, who's the one guy you'd like to see in?
They're signing so many people, it's hard to kind of keep up with all this stuff.
Yeah, no NXTers, just like who's that one? Because I think NXT, I'm just gonna go say Velveteen Dream, and everybody knows what I'm gonna say.
That's kind of unfair because that's the path.
Right.
I would love to see them bring Juice Robinson back, because he was started out as CJ Parker, kind of made his gimmick over in Ring of Honor and New Japan as this really good work, really good promo guy. They kind of gave him that stupid environmental, peace-loving hippie gimmick, and it didn't work so well. But he made it work. He's got talent. I think he's got in-ring ability as well. Just won the belt off Jay White, I believe it was. So, Juice Robinson's second chance would be fun to see.
How about you, Nate? You got somebody?
Michael Elgin, I think, would be a great fit. I love Mike. He's a friend of the show. Mike is a beast. He's a great worker, former Ring of Honor champion. I'd love to see him come in, and this could be a guy you could put with a Lashley or Roman.
He's not that old either, too. Isn't he 30-ish? No. Right, yeah.
Yeah, he's not very old, but he's so strong, and the things he can do in the ring for a guy his size is ridiculous. Little short, but still could make it work with how strong he is. Honorable mention, Jay Lethal, because it's Jay Lethal. He's amazing.
Yeah, that's a good one, too. All right, Nate, tell everybody again where they can check out the show, when the show is in West Virginia, in case they're in the area.
Well, if you're a wrestling fan in the West Virginia area, it'll be Madison, West Virginia. It'll be August the 11th. That's a Saturday. Doors open at 5:30 if you buy your tickets in advance. All doors open at 6 for all ticket buyers. Jack Swagger will be there. Brian Pillman Jr. will be there. Manny Fernandez, the Raging Bull, will be there. We're going to have a women's title match to crown the first ever women's champion. And it's just going to be a great night. Jack Swagger will be fighting for the heavyweight title against our champion. And kayfabe lives, by by if you come down there.
Nice.
I'll say that. So
nice. That's fun. That's fun.
It is. It's a great time. We have a blast with it. So yeah, definitely come down, check it out. And you can check me out on Wide Men Can't Jump. We're actually doing a show tonight. We have guests from all over the NBA, pro wrestling. We're on iTunes, Podcast Addict, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Play, FM Flash, anywhere that you can find podcasts. We're there. Me and my co-host Tom Robinson, formerly of the 605 Super Podcast, if you ever listen to that show.
Yeah.
We dive in really deep. He was the guy that did Stuttering Tommy Rich and Tiarnak and all that. So
Nice.
If you like hoops, give us a listen. We're all over the place.
Good stuff, man. Nate, thanks so much for coming on. He's Nate Bush, everybody, again.
Thank you, guys.
Just
I really
awesome
enjoyed
having you on. I appreciate that you listened to our show, and I appreciate that like you came on today and gave us like you enhanced the show and brought so much to the table, and we definitely want to have you back sooner than later. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, anytime.
And Tim Heaney, as always, I love you, brother. You're the best. Don't count down at me while the show's ending and then go because then I'm just gonna be mad because that's
well, there goes my plan.
I knew you were gonna do it. I knew you're gonna do it anyway. And for those of you who don't know, big news, In This Ring is now on iHeartRadio, so you can listen to us there on top of iTunes and everywhere you can find podcasts. And, of course, subscribe to In This Ring. You can follow us on Twitter at In This Ring, also at Joe Pisapia 17 and at Tim_Heaney. Because remember, kids, when all is said and done, to be the men, you gotta beat the men, and we are the men.
3, 2, 1. I'm sorry.
Woo!